known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I am Lawrence Presman. He is Teddy Covers. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet, and we got a great show lined up. Teddy, who's on today?
We have Ralph Michaels to open up the show. He's going to talk a little MACtion, Tuesday Night Football, Buffalo and Ohio. He's going to talk a little NHL for tonight as well, Dallas against LA. And I'm not sure if he's going to talk some NFL or not, but he might. Before all's said and done, Ralph Michaels, of course, number one in NBA winning percentage, number one in NBA profit last year. He's got a 5% big ticket going tonight. After Ralph, we've got JM Sports joining us. He's going to talk a little Duke Boston College, Friday Night Lights, and some Patriots and Colts on Sunday. And then, of course, Dave Sharapan going to close out the show with the Sportsbook Conciliary, talking about some industry news, where the money's flowing in early week action. My big game breakdown, we're going to talk Heat and Warriors. I've got a total recommendation for that ball game. And Prez, what about you? What are you going to talk about on today's show?
Well, I got my daily presidential address. We need 100 likes to get there. I went 2-1 yesterday, had the Cleveland Browns, lost on the Milwaukee Bucks, easy winner on the over in Philadelphia and Washington. I had a nice night yesterday, Teddy, 4-2. I went 2-1 in NHL, 2-0 in NBA. I had a push in NBA. I had the under 119 in the Sacramento game, first half. Unbelievable that pushed, but I did lose my prop bet in the NFL. I'm rolling, dude. We're going to talk about it a little later, but right now it's $2 Tuesday. Our $2 Tuesday feature handicapper, Ralph Michaels. He's got a 5% NBA play up. You guys can get it for only $2. Ralph, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys, appreciate it. And 6 days away to college basketball. I tweeted it out, next Monday's schedule. There's 126 games next Monday to start the college basketball season. First game tips off at noon. It's Baylor and Mississippi Valley State, followed by Stanford and Pacific at 2 o'clock Eastern, and the free 100-page Wager Talk College Basketball Preview Guide available for free on my homepage, wt.buzz/RM.
Ralph, before we get into it, man, that is a serious piece of art behind you. What might it be? And did your son draw it when he was 4?
You know, Prez, I'm actually in a rental, so it's one of those cheap pieces that they throw on the wall for a rental property, and it's exactly what it looks like. It's a bunch of scribbles on a white background.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is
real art.
I'm like, wow.
I thought it was John Plays
well,
something.
It's not signed, Teddy, but yes, it's a framed piece of art behind me.
Someone framed that?
Some kind of Venn diagram.
Like that's in a frame?
That's in a frame. So I think we're in the wrong business because I could even draw that.
Yeah. I honestly, I thought your son Jeff drew it when he was 5. I was like, and I would respect putting it up. Let's get into it, man. College football tonight. Ohio +3 against Buffalo. 58.5 is the total. Ralph, how do we bet this game?
Well, you know what? We're into November now. So if you're going to look at a total like I am, the number one thing is to always make sure your weather is adequate if you're going to bet it over like I am. I do want to toss out a site that I love. I think it's incredible for wind speed. It's https://digital.weather.gov. It's the U.S. government site, but when you pull it up, you can pull down wind speed and then move ahead to the day you want, and it gives you the entire map with color-coded wind. It's an awesome look ahead at the beginning of the week. So https:// digital.weather.gov, an awesome site. I do like the over tonight in Buffalo and Ohio. It's game 303, 304. Total is 58.5. Buffalo's D looks very good stat-wise. They're allowing 220 yards per game passing, 57%, but this is a very misleading stat. They faced 2 backup quarterbacks in the last 5 weeks, and in the last 4 weeks, their pass offenses that they faced, Toledo, number 95, UMass, dead last, number 131, Bowling Green, number 81, and number 122. That is the worst set of pass offenses any team has faced the last 4 weeks. Ohio's pass offense, number 14 in the country, and Buffalo plays surprisingly fast. In the college football stat guide I do each week, I added conference-only stats. Buffalo actually number 15 in plays run per game in MACtion. Ohio's defense, one of the worst. They're number 129 this year. They're allowing their foes over 100 yards per game more than they've averaged against the other foes. And that Buffalo defense allowing almost 5 yards per carry, 69% completions. MACtion goes over tonight.
So here's my question. For the full season, Ohio's got some really dismal defensive stats. I'm with you. From the get-go, that defense was bad in September. But the last 2 games, they shut down Western Michigan. They shut down Northern Illinois. There's clearly defensive improvement for the Bobcats. Does that concern you here against a Buffalo team that plays fast but doesn't generate a lot of big plays on offense? The Bulls are all about these long, sustained drives, and they score touchdowns, but they're not a team that's going to create big plays in bunches and big play TDs in bunches. So let me ask you about Ohio's defensive improvement. Real or random?
I love the question, Teddy, and I'm going to say it's not real. You say they held Western Michigan on the road. They allowed 333 yards. Western Michigan has had 4 better offensive performances than that. So that's actually their 5th performance out of 7. So actually it's a negative. So you look at Western Michigan, but compare it to what they've done the rest of the season, it's actually below average what Buffalo held them to. So, what Ohio held them to. So, no, to me it's fake. When you're allowing almost 5 yards per carry, and they allowed 5.6 to Northern Illinois as well. So, not worried about that. It's the opponents they played and not necessarily improvement in the Bobcat defense.
Ralph Michaels joining us, everyone. Ralph Starchild, one of our listeners, likes the over in the first quarter. Any quick thoughts on that? Are you with him?
I normally don't play quarters because it's random. I do like first halves, and I will at times play halves. And it depends. Actually, I prefer playing halves more when I like the under because, the lines are usually based at like 54 or 55% of the total line. And there's oftentimes when you have the under, you might, the total might be in the 40s, but you can get under 21.5 for that first half because they slanted to the overs.
There you go. Unknown entity asking for likes, appreciating the show. I haven't seen your name before. Welcome. Thank you, my friend. Ralph, NHL tonight. I went 2-1 last night. My loss was on the Blues, and I texted Andrew and Carm, and I said, how bad are the Blues? How good are the Kings? And here we have the Kings tonight. 3rd game in 4 nights, back-to-back, all travel. They're playing Dallas. Dallas is around -140. How do we bet this game?
Well, the Kings were home a couple games ago, but they were home against Toronto. Then they went to St. Louis. Prez, I started looking at some technical aspects of this, and I was planning on using Dallas. Couple situations, you talked about that. When a team has a win percentage of 46% or higher, like Dallas does, and they have 2+ days rest versus an unrested foe, they have covered 76% of the time with an average line of -170. So does that show a profit? Well, yes. You need to hit 62.9% with an average line of -170. So you have an 18.7% return on investment. So it's still a very positive angle. Then I looked at what teams do if they won away as an away dog and have no rest. they've only covered 35% of the time. But when I started going in and reading the Dallas paper, I changed my train of thought from saying I'm going to use Dallas to I'm going to use the over.
Yeah.
Let's remember now, in the last game against the Rangers, Scott Wedgwood, Dallas's incredible goalie, got hurt. He's out at least for a week. They're going to reevaluate. So that puts, Oettinger got hurt. Wedgwood is between the pipes. Wedgwood allowed 4 goals and 17 shots when he came in against the Rangers. And then he lost 3-2 at Toronto, and he lost 4-2 at Ottawa. I'm not a fan of his here. On the flip side, we're probably going to get Peterson with back-to-back days. Peterson's 3-1, which looks impressive, but he's allowed 17 goals in his 4 starts. The Kings have just scored many goals to get him that 3-1 record. Kings, number 6, averaging 3.6 goals per game. I am actually going with the over in this game, and I did release it to my clients as an all-access play.
Ralph Michaels, that over makes a lot of sense to me. And the Kings are going to have tired legs, which will help the over. Dude, you have started the NFL season 23-9. So just a monster congratulations. That is just outstanding. Do you have anything NFL-wise real quick before we let you go? And we will talk about your $2 Tuesday 5% or after.
More like this on Bet On It when I do a TNA segment. I do like Arizona this week. You look at situations, Arizona's offensive line was banged up. Connor's still out. They couldn't do anything. Murray was forced to throw the ball, and he saw what he did. Who would have thought in the world that I would pick Geno Smith as the better quarterback over Aaron Murray at the beginning of the season? And if you're worried about double revenge for the Arizona Cardinals, how's this for a number? Since 2018, a home favorite of 6 or less that has division double revenge like Arizona has gone 7-27. They've only covered 20.6% of the time. A couple other great technical spots on Seattle. I do like the Seahawks.
Ralph Michaels, everyone. I'm actually looking at the over in that game, but the number does keep going up. Ralph, you are the $2 Tuesday handicapper, guys. Ralph has a 5% play up in NBA. He's on a 4-0 NBA run. And any play 4% or up in NBA, dude, you're on a 24-5 run. I mean, these are big, big, big numbers. Congratulations. You want to talk about it for a sec?
Well, first 5% play of the NBA season. 5% overall of it, 70%. But like I said, I had a magical NBA season, and I really started looking more at technical spots. You know, I do a lot of trends and angles in football, and I don't use that many in handicapping. But in the NBA, they do seem to work very, very well. It worked well last year. It started working well this year. We'll just continue doing what we do. So 4 straight NBA 5% winners. And when an NBA play is rated 4% or higher, 24-5, 83%.
Yeah. Outstanding. Ralph, take that gorgeous piece of art and get the hell out of here, my brother. Teddy covers.
Thanks, guys.
Teddy, I'm honestly, I'm in shock over that piece of art. And I'm glad that you actually spoke about it too, instead of became ordinary. Prez, why are you wasting time, Prez? This is a sports betting show, Prez. Don't talk about art on the wall, Prez. Anyway, thank you for participating in that segment.
My pleasure.
It's like I thought you were going to give me one of these. What did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
I don't know what anybody else learned last night, but I'll tell you what. I'm really glad the calendars turned from October to November. October was a terrible month for me. Very bad. Didn't win in baseball, didn't win in football, didn't win in basketball. And I ran great. February through September, I was up more than 200% ROI, and I just gave a bunch of it back. So what happened? Well, it's important to pay attention to what happened. I just go, I'm just running bad. What happened? I saw things I didn't take advantage of. Too many wrong sides, too many half-baked ideas where you're not thinking the game through properly. Not much luck in the coin flip games, unfortunately, and a series of dismal second half / fourth quarters. And I remember exactly when it switched for me. It was at halftime on Friday, September 30th. San Diego State was up 13-0 at the half at Boise. And Boise came out in the second half and won that game. They just killed them in the second half, 35-13 final. And then that was a harbinger of things to come for basically the rest of the month. Now, just because I say it, I'm not going to make it true. I'm going to be better. But the motivation, the ability are there. Now I need a little execution. I'm glad to see October go bye-bye. That's what I learned last night, Prez. What about you?
Yeah. I'm very sad to see October go bye-bye, Teddy. Me and you had a very different month. I killed it in all sports. My NFL was outstanding. My NBA has started incredible. My NHL rocked. My baseball rocked. My college football, which basically kisses the sister every single Saturday, was mediocre at best. But I mean, in every other sport, Teddy, I made 60% ROI in the month of October. So you are sad to see October go. You are happy to see October go. I am sad to see October go. But let's both have a kick-ass November, shall we? And you know what, dude? I'm going to try organize another Odd Couple promo next week because I got a good feeling, man. I got a feeling. Yes, I do. Jeff Michaels, what do you think of your dad? You listen to his handicapping? Like, does he, when you go out for dinner with him, does he like just spew handicapping knowledge?
I grew up I was watching sports and I never realized that what he was talking about was his plays growing up. So I heard it from a age and probably didn't even know what I was talking about. And now it's just a daily dinner conversation.
Yeah. It's really remarkable how much info is in your father's head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. It's a $5 package over at Sports Memo. You're one of the guys. You want to tell us quickly about what's on tap for you, and then we'll get into your games.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a $5 AAC game of the month going for you guys, up for $2. As they mentioned, there are 3 of us. You got Don Buster in the insiders room over there too. You get all 3 of us for $5. But I'm running number 2 overall in the last 7 days on Sports Memo, and I'm number 2 on the season college football against the spread. So we're running hot in college football and talking a little more football with you guys today.
Excellent stuff. Jeff Michaels joining us, everyone. You can find him at Sports Memo, outstanding handicapper, and I'm sure a good kid to Ralph. Did you give him trouble? Were you annoying as shit?
Maybe. You're sure?
Teddy, what do you think? I don't know, Teddy. You know what, Jeff? You're not in this convo. Teddy, I think he was a good kid. I think he had probably a couple of years where he was hardcore into oxy, meth, and heroin, and other than that, he's a good kid.
You're allowed to think that. I'll take the under on the meth and heroin.
But oxy is the over. No, dude. Jeff Michaels, are you kidding? You had to have been a great kid.
I thought it was funny. I almost thought that painting on the wall was something that I did growing up that I forgot about. But
yeah,
I thought that would just be a crayon on the wall and not framed like you guys mentioned.
Friday night college football, Duke -9.5. They're playing Boston College. How do we bet this game?
I think these teams are on 2 different levels in multiple scenarios. I like Duke in this one. Boston College has played a little bit of a harder schedule, but they're just 1-7 against the spread this year. They've lost 3 straight, and they're 1-4 in their conference play. And in those games in the conference, they're allowing nearly 36 points per game, and their offense is barely surpassing 15. They just haven't been able to put up points. Duke's covered consecutive games. They're 6-2 against the spread this season. And the biggest difference, they're 3-1 in that conference play. Their offense took a small step backwards in terms of yardage when playing their conference foes, but their offense has actually been able to put up more points. They're putting up 35 points a game against the ACC. And I think one of the biggest things is Duke comes in with a big rest advantage in this game. It's a Friday night game, so Boston College is playing on a short week, and Duke was off last week. So they got 13 days rest, and Boston College is off that bad game against UConn. They put up just 3 points, And if you look at it over the last 3 games, Boston College is averaging just 7 points a game, being held 62 yards under what opposing defenses are normally allowing. That ranks 116th in the country. And Duke's defense is actually holding teams under their average yardage in conference play, something that they haven't been able to do on the season. So looking at this, I really think Duke could be the next team to hold this Boston College offense under 300 yards. And since obviously I learned those trends and angles somewhere, I do have one for you on this one. A team that put up 3 or less points in their last game, and now they're playing as a home dog of at least a touchdown against another conference opponent. 9-22 against the spread in the last 3 years. And just a little extra, that actually also applies to Rutgers in the Michigan game this weekend. But for my look Friday night, I like Duke minus that 9.5 against Boston College.
JM Sports, Jeff Michaels joining us. Talk a little Duke, Boston College. Now, I got to go back to a trend that your dad brought up on this show. I think it was last week, might be the week before, talking about teams that have failed to cover multiple games in a row or teams that have covered multiple games in a row. And with BC, you talked about their dismal point spread record. One of the things that your dad came on trend-wise was says that teams off of 3 consecutive, 4 consecutive, 5 consecutive ATS losses have all been positive expectation. Obviously, there's no betting bandwagon for Boston College. None whatsoever. This team's been dismal from day one this year. But is Duke a capable favorite in this range? And is this line just a little bit inflated? Duke's happy they win this game by a field goal, let alone by double digits.
Yeah, I think Duke's offense has been able to put up the points, and it's more against this BC offense. I mean, they've done it twice already this season with straight ATS losses. Now they've lost 4 again, but it doesn't look like they're turning around. Last game against UConn, they had lost 3 straight. They're an 8-point favorite. I think some places even had them 8.5 last week, and they lose by 10 and only put up 3 points against a UConn team. So I'm really against this BC offense and how they've played in the last couple of games, and they haven't shown me anything that there's any changes coming anytime soon.
Jeff Michaels, everyone. Jeff is part of the gang over at Sports Memo. 3 handicappers, $5, Buster Sports, JM Sports, and the Insiders Room. Get all 3 plays for only $5. Jeff, Patriots hosting Indy, -5.5 for the Pats, over and under 39.5. I am so curious how you're going to bet this game because full disclosure, I hate the entire NFL card this week.
This one jumped out to me earlier. My last play was a premium play for me over on the site, and this one could make it as well. This is one of those lines that jumped out to me early. New England, kind of what we actually just talked about in the college football trends. They started the season 1-3 against the spread, and they've totally turned it around. They were 1-3 straight up to start the season. They were 1-2-1 against the spread in those first 4 games. And now they've turned things around. They're 3-1 against the spread and straight up in the last 4 weeks. And they've covered 4 out of the last 5, where you have Indy going into that same kind of offensive slump. They lost last week on those late plays against Washington as a favorite. And that was the second game in a row they've lost. They're averaging 15.5 points over the last 7 weeks. And Indy's only put up 13 points per game over the last 2. I mean, you look at some of the teams in the league, you look at running back position, and, I'm a big Cleveland fan, obviously, Nick Chubb, but one of the first names you think about is Jonathan Taylor. And this team's rushed for under 100 yards in 5 out of the last 7 weeks. And that's combined as a team. They've also struggled with turnovers. They've lost 2 per game on average. And New England's forced at least 1 turnover in 7 straight games. And 6 out of 7 of those, they forced 2 or more turnovers. They had 8 takeaways in the last 3 weeks, including those 3 last week against Zach Wilson. So, I do like New England's defense to kind of take advantage of this situation. New England's 8-0 in the last 2 years against teams who force one or less turnovers per game. So Indy's giving them away. They're not taking them back either. And, it all comes down to the scoreboard. Indy's the third worst scoring team in the NFL, behind only Denver and Pittsburgh on this season. So, New England's had some success recently. So I'm riding with them to cover that spread this week, and I'm thinking it's a touchdown win for New England this week, and they cover that 5.5.
So the Pats have been favored by more than a field goal twice in their last 10 games. They've lost both of those outright by more than a touchdown. Being a bigger favorite has not been their role of late. Are you concerned at all about New England's poor track record laying these type of points? We just saw them on Monday Night Football getting blasted by the Bears. 13 days ago, or no, 8 days ago, prior to the win over the Jets this past weekend. Are we worried at all about the Pats' sustained struggles covering bigger points?
No, if you would have asked me 7 days ago after that Chicago game, it may have been a little bit of a different story, but they almost beat the Jets by that 5.5 point line. They beat them by 5 last week. I think the Jets are a better team than Indy. And I don't think it's a number thing. I think it's a momentum thing coming off a big division win like that and winning by, 5 points in a game that was probably closer than it should have been, forcing 3 turnovers from Zach Wilson. So I think they're ride the momentum from that game, and they're not looking at the number on the spread.
Awesome. Jeff Michaels. Ralph, come back on. Well, what do you think, Ralph? Come on, man. How good was your son right there, Ralph? Come on.
He's getting there. He's doing a good job. He's learning to mix. It's tough when you start out, and he's made his bets, but when you're selling plays as a handicapper, it's different. You have to work those technical situations in, know when they're important, know when they're just speak, and he's doing a good job. It's embarrassing when I have a bad week or a subpar month and he did better than me, and I'm like, holy crap, that shouldn't be the case. So I'm proud of what
embarrassing, Ralph. That's literally what life should be. Every generation should be better than the next. You should be unbelievably proud of your son. Good kid, great handicapper. We loved having both of you on the same day, man.
Thanks, guys.
Teddy, before we go to a quick break, I got to tell you, man, one of our listeners, Cappy Corner, that's his name. First name Cappy, last name Corner. I think his middle name is Dot. But he puts in the chat room, Prez, Bucks picks, terrible. Don't you love these guys? You go 2-1 in your picks that you give out for free every day, and a guy starts with you on the loser. Cappy, what about the other two, dude? Was Cleveland not good enough for you? Was the over in the Washington game not worth mentioning? Oh, man, you just can't make people happy in this game. Brother, let's take a quick... Yeah, go ahead. Talk.
I was going to say, this isn't new. This isn't different.
No, it's not.
It's okay.
Dude.
Whoever's watching, if they want to bitch about, you give them 2 winners and a loser, they want to bitch about the loser, that's absolutely their prerogative. That's the nature of what we do. And we appreciate all the comments. Rip us. If you feel you want to rip us, knock yourself out.
Oh, rip Teddy.
But every comment is appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now we'll take a quick break. When we come back, my big game breakdown and Dave Sharapan, the sportsbook consigliere, joining us after this brief message. Please stay tuned.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
It's for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk some Tuesday night NBA. This should be a fun game. The Golden State Warriors at the Miami Heat. We've seen some Miami money over the last couple of minutes. Money's coming in on the Heat. It was pick'em. Now I'm seeing Miami -1 total. Let's call it 226 right now on the WagerTalk live odds screen. These two teams just met in Golden State last week. 123-110 final. The Warriors with the win and cover. Golden State plus 19 on the boards in that game. They overcame 21 turnovers to win by margin. Here's a quote from Steve Kerr after that game. Quote, I thought it was our best defensive game, which isn't saying much given the other four. It just felt like a more typical Warriors performance. We were getting stops consistently and then getting out and running. Here's what Kerr said after they lost to Detroit on the second of back-to-backs 2 nights ago. They gave 128 points, and it wasn't pretty. Quote, we can't stop fouling. Something needs to click with our guys. We have to be near the bottom of the league in defensive efficiency, and that puts us in some bad spots offensively. Draymond Green. I think our offense is killing our defense, whether it's floor balance or whether the ball doesn't move and guys are stagnant. The two ends aren't connecting. And to be a great team, the two ends have to connect. So I agree with what Golden State is saying. Their defense has not been great so far this season. Clearly, there will be some attention paid to the defensive side of the football, defense side of the basketball tonight. Eric Spoelstra talking about Miami's slow start. Quote, we're not that far away. We're going to improve. And look, this is the two teams between them last year. They ranked number 3 and number 4, respectively, defensively, each in the 105 points per game range. And this year, neither one has been particularly good. I'm expecting defense to be on display tonight. Miami, they're off back-to-back losses, got gashed in Sacramento, returning home. There's urgency for the Heat against this opponent tonight to bring it defensively. Golden State, urgency defensively. Put these two factors together with a total sitting at 226, and we're going to go under the total. Look for a slower-paced game and a defensive struggle in Miami. Expect a relatively low-scoring affair. There's your big game breakdown. Prez, back to you.
Teddy, I'm in play on this game. I got a first half bet up for my clients. Jesus, I'll tell you, man, that Dave Sharapan, his timing is exceptional. How are you, Dave?
Morning. Hi.
Oh, wait, there
Oh,
you are.
hello. What's up?
What's up, Mr. Green? Eagles and North Stars.
Yeah, I had to try to find something to match the green, and why not the Eagles? Because they're the best team in the NFC and, you know, the best team to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. So green, hockey for you, football for the people. We're just trying to keep up, boys. That's all. Good to see you both.
Does it say Bobby Smith on the back of that jersey?
It does not. It's a number 9, which was my number back in the day, and it's
Wait
number
a minute.
9.
You played
Madonna.
hockey? You played hockey?
Because I played hockey since I was 4 years old. I played hockey at Penn State when it was just a club sport. I can still skate. I'll come down and put the puck between your legs and have you wondering where I went as I go.
Yeah, I'll take the under on that. And I would have thought you were the pylon, bro.
Still can skate, Prez.
Let's go,
right.
dude.
We go in the corner for the puck. I know who's coming out. I'm
I know who's not going in.
I'll go in the corner with you anytime you want. I don't want any drama today on a Tuesday.
Dude, I'm a defenseman. I play defense in hockey, and I don't go into the corners very often. Anyway, I feel like a lot of drama today, Dave.
Why? I don't want any
I don't know. I want to grow a beard, but this goddamn mustache, it's like black hair, white there. It's not going to work, man. Any suggestions?
You got all those girls in the house. They can help you with the color. They can make it.
Oh, they're all gone.
You want.
They're all gone, dude. My youngest is at Guelph at university, and my eldest left this morning. She moved to Houston for the next 3 months, her and her boyfriend.
Oh.
And it's definitely worth noting, you don't want to be dyeing your beard because you trim it and shave it too often. You end up doing it every time. I tried it once, and it just doesn't last. It's not like if you do your hair, it goes a little. Well, the very first video show that I was doing with Malinsky, I was supposed to be the young guy, and he was supposed to be the old guy, and I was already getting gray. and he was the professor. So that one football season, I dyed my hair. I was dyeing my hair. Kara was dyeing my hair, and the beard just didn't work. I had to take it off. So you don't want to be dyeing.
Oh, my.
Sorry.
All right.
There's a distraction.
Teddy,
Let's talk.
Teddy, roughly 10% of people can't dye their hair, their pigmentation, it doesn't hold. And I'm one of those. I've tried to dye my hair twice. One time it went orange, and the next time it went jet black, and then it all washed out within a couple of weeks. So there will be no hair dyeing for the Prez.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are who we are.
But I got to tell you, Sharapan's ability to dye his hair the color of his skin is exceptional. That is some.
Hey, man, I
good,
try to keep it tight. We can keep it tight.
Yeah.
I go the Carmine route, keep it tight. I mean,
Yeah.
back in the day, though, I had the blonde tips and all that other stuff. I mean, we had a whole bunch of
Oh,
different
we need
colors
to
back
get
in
some
the day.
pictures. We need some pictures
I want
of
a pic
that.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want
big time.
pictures. I
Okay.
see you with the flock of seagull look, too. Did you have the Robert Smith with the flock of seagull going?
I had it all. I mean, we started out with it feathered in the middle, and then we let it flow. We had the hockey hair back in the late 80s.
Oh, mullet.
Oh, it had to be. In Pittsburgh, that's what it was. It always flew out of the helmet. Oh, yeah. Always worked.
Teddy, get some actionable info out of this man.
Absolutely. Let's talk real quick, a little NBA/NHL. When it comes to early season action, do you get a lot of NBA action at the books? Do you get a lot of NHL action, or does it slowly pick up as the season progresses and kind of jumps after football ends? Or are the bettors out there in full swing right now in both?
Truthfully, it's really a sharp market. And as far as like NBA totals, you see a ton of it. It's really during the week you see a lot of the action, like a night like tonight. I mean, there's a MAC game, there's a football game, there's a World Series game, but you see more action, I think, quantitatively on the NBA, even with a short slate. Less games means more action per game, but like the Wednesday slate is usually like a big NBA day. The hockey's hit and miss. I mean, the hockey, like when the nights came, it boosted the handle here in Vegas. But overall, you don't see it nearly as much. It's definitely number 4 by far. You know what I mean? It's during the summer, obviously baseball, but it's football, everything, basketball, close, and we know what's coming next week. I saw Ralph's tweet with the WagerTalk guide and the college basketball. Do you know how many games there are on Monday next week? I mean, like, it's that
120
looming. It's insane. So that dominates. Then, when baseball goes away, hockey's third, but there's not nearly as much action as the other two.
So
Teddy, I just got Teddy.
NBA and college hoops. Let's talk World Series. We haven't talked World Series on today's show. So let me ask you this. Number one, what kind of betting action are we seeing? Who do the pros like? Who do the Joes like? Number two, do you have an opinion on Game 3 tonight? And third question, if you're betting on tonight's game, would you make a series bet as well at the same time, considering the team up 2-1 as a big edge?
I would if you like the Phillies, because you're getting a price now that's not going to exist tomorrow. The rain out messed everything up as far as the rhythmic pentameter, per se, of the baseball betting of the World Series. So, you get in a rhythm, you have the pitching matchup set, and then boom, a game rains out because they're playing baseball in November, which I still cannot understand why we're playing baseball in November. But we are. And it's cold in Philly, and it rains in Philly outside like it does in most of the, country and even up in Canada. So I think you have to be cautious about betting it pregame. Now, yesterday had it lined up to bet over because it was going to be a bullpen game. I'm not so sure now, because if Suarez can get through the order twice, I mean, they want him to go through 5 or 6 innings, this game may end up being played under. I mean, I'm watching the screen now. I think they're going to play this thing under. As far as the side tonight, I'm waiting in game because I think there's going to be lead changes. It's going to be like Game 1 more than like Game 2. Okay, I don't think either team's running out, getting a lead, and handing a ball to a starter like they did with Valdez in Game 2 with the Astros, who just dominated. I don't know how long McCullers is scheduled to go. There's a lot of questions about don't know and not sure and all these other stuff. So, like pregame, I can't definitively say. But you guys know I'm sitting on a Phillies 100-1, 75-1, 50-1 ticket. And I'm also, I got some Astros 9-1, 5-1, 4-1 on the other side. So I'm just trying to balance the action out. I think the series is still going 6 games, Teddy. There's a bet out there. You can pick the number of games. I think 6 is where this thing is headed, the way the pitching matchups are lined up. But Mother Nature could mess it all up.
That's what Mother Nature does. She messes things up. That's what she's known for, obviously. Dave Sharapan at SportsBK Consig, the sportsbook consigliere, longtime the sportsbook operator, manager, supervisor, lines maker, and now a current media personality here in Las Vegas,
For now.
Nevada.
Yeah.
Let's shift focus, talk about the NFL. We have just a few minutes left with Dave Sharapan. So tell me who the early action is coming on in the NFL this week. Who are the wise guys pounding when it comes to Sunday night, Monday morning, Monday betting on the NFL slate?
Well, I mean, I'm wearing the Eagles hat, and they play on Thursday. I cannot believe this line, personally. I just – how high do you make it? So, bad guys, professionals, whomever, I think they've spoken. They're taking the points, okay? They grabbed any 13.5s that were out there, pretty much gone. It's down to 13. Is this when the Eagles finally don't cover? I don't know if this is the game they lose. They're eventually going to lose, but they haven't lost yet. Now, looking at the Sunday slate, I mean, Minnesota. Again, Minnesota. A lot of people tried to fade, against Minnesota last week with Arizona on Sunday. Didn't work out so well. Now they're laying 3.5. It's 3.5 on the road at Washington. They took any 2.5s that were there, boom, gone. 3's gone. It's up to 3.5. So I saw they played that. And then there's Vegas and Jacksonville. I mean, who wants to bet on either one of these teams, right? You got to make a line on every game. This would be one of those ones I'd be in a room going, do we have to? Can we just make it pick? Well, if you made it pick, you got bet Raiders. If you made it 1.5 or 1 on top, that's where they're taking Jacksonville. I personally can't fall for the Jacksonville banana in the tailpipe trick anymore. Tried to do it before. They're a bad football team. They keep losing. But I'm telling you, that's going to be the play. They're going to fade the Raiders again. How do the Raiders play as bad as they did in Tennessee or New Orleans? Andy Dalton, they didn't even cross the 50-yard line. So keep an eye on that game. And then, I mean, the Jets got exposed, right? The Jets got exposed, and Buffalo, another gigantic number. Always looking at these good teams and how big the numbers are because, in this business, in this space, we're always looking to take dogs. Do you take the Jets at plus 13? There will be people that will.
Yeah, and Dave, Ralph came on the show last year with some numbers on these teams minus 10 and up, and they've actually been good bets for the last few years. So, but it's tough.
He came
especially
on, and Ralph came on a couple of weeks ago and showed us a nice chart where double-digit favorites are better than 60% against the spread long-term.
Right.
That's the way to go with double-digit teams, is not to take the dogs. Clearly, the numbers show take the favorites.
Look, this past week, Dallas covered their big number, Philly covered their big number, but Buffalo did not.
Right.
So it was 2-1 this past week with those big numbers. Dave, we love having you on, man. You're awesome. There was no drama, but I will give a flex to you.
Little flex.
I'm wearing
Tuesday
a long
on the
sleeve
way out.
shirt.
Baby, come on.
I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. I'm golfing in 15 minutes, and it's a little
golf?
bit.
You doing that golf thing again? Is it warm enough to golf where you're at? Golf?
It's going to be 18 degrees in real temperature. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Get out of here, brother. Dave Sharapan, everyone. Okay, Dan, cue me up. Hey, welcome everybody. It's the daily presidential address. We went 2-1 yesterday in these plays. I got 3 plays for you tonight, 2 in hockey, 1 in NBA. Before we get into that, I just want to say I am rolling. And I've told you all this for the entire month of October was sick. I have 3 NBA plays tonight, 2 NHL plays tonight, and I am in play on the baseball game post pitching change. So I've got a 6-pack up for you all over at WagerTalk.com. 3 plays. First, we're going to go with Pittsburgh. The Penguins minus 128 against the Boston Bruins tonight. Look, Boston has started the season just phenomenal. And I actually had them pegged them as a team that was on the downslope. I still feel that way over the entire season, and this is a bad spot for them. Take the Penguins minus 128. Talking about a bad spot, Anaheim Ducks finally get a win against the Leafs 2 nights ago. Now they go to San Jose, 2 bottom-feeding teams. I'm going to take the Sharks at minus 134. And the last one is Oklahoma City at minus 3. Dave Sharapan, I forgot to ask you to promote again. What do you got to promote, bro? You gone? You're
It's
still
fine.
there. Come on.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if I was still there.
Dave,
What?
promote and take us home.
All right, Teddy always takes it home. I'll give you 15 seconds of promotion. Bostonia versus the Book, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's coming up next. Every day, Sports Grid Sirius XM, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, 3 hours. Me, Morency, Cam Stewart, Joe Ranieri, and Dubs Anderson. And then MLB Network this week, World Series show. I don't know what else. Cash Considerations podcast, 8 in the Box podcast. Teddy, go deep. Take us home, please.
That's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition of Wager Talk Today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend with us right here on Wager Talk Today. If you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Wager Talk TV app. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.